number 10 on the list, we have the disappearance of the first English American. Virginia Dare was born on August 18, 1587, becoming the first English child born in the New World in the Roanoke colony. But just 3 years later, she and the entire colony vanished without a trace. When supply ships returned in 1590, the settlement was completely abandoned with no bodies, no signs of struggle, and only one clue, the word Croatoan carved into a tree. Did they assimilate with Native Americans? Were they massacred? Or did something more sinister happen? Some legends claim Virginia was raised by a local tribe, while others say she was cursed and turned into a ghostly white doe that still haunts Roanoke Island. Over 400 years later, and no one knows what really happened. Coming in at number 9, the fate of the first witch. Alice Kyteler was a wealthy and powerful woman in 14th century Ireland, whose bank account grew with the passing of each husband. Over several years, Alice was married 4 times. Each one mysteriously died, leaving her richer every time. Naturally, her stepchildren weren't thrilled and accused her of using sorcery and poison to kill them. The Bishop of Ossory, Richard de la Drade, led the charge against her, claiming she made sacrifices to demons and engaged in dark rituals, including a sexual relationship with the incubus, Robin Artisan, who took the form of a cat. But Alice had connections, and instead of facing trial, she escaped to England, never to be seen again. Unfortunately, her servant Petronilla de Meath wasn't so lucky. She was brutally tortured to force a confession, and eventually burned at the stake on November 3rd, 1324, becoming the first witch executed in Ireland, and the dawn of the insane witch hunts that spanned the globe for the next 400 years. Alice Kyteler's fate to this day remains unknown. At number 8, we have the teenager who was executed twice. In 1946, Willie Francis, a 17-year-old black teenager from Louisiana, was sentenced to death by electric chair for the murder of pharmacist Andrew Thomas. The evidence against him was questionable, and Francis's guilt is highly disputed in the true crime community today. In an alleged confession letter written without counsel, Francis wrote, "It was a secret about me and him." These 8 words sealed Francis's doom, but the meaning is very mysterious. Also, the gun used in the murder was owned by a sheriff's deputy who had made death threats against Andrew Thomas in the past. To recap, Willie Francis was 15 when he allegedly killed Thomas. Neighbours of Thomas said that on the night of the murder, they heard gunshots before seeing a car speed away from Thomas's house. It's unlikely that a 15-year-old poor black kid had access to a car at this time, let alone know how to drive one. Lastly, the coroner suggested that the killer was likely experienced with a gun. All of these things should have worked in Francis's favour. Even still, Francis was found guilty. On May 3, 1946, Willie was strapped into gruesome Gertie, Louisiana's travelling electric chair. The switch was thrown, and something went horribly wrong. Instead of dying instantly, Willie convulsed in agony but remained alive. Witnesses heard him screaming. The execution had failed due to a faulty setup by drunk prison guards. For the first time in US history, a condemned man survived the electric chair. His lawyers argued that a second attempt would be cruel and unusual punishment, taking the case all the way to the US Supreme Court. But in a 5-4 decision, the court ruled against him. On May 9, 1947, Willie Francis was placed back into the chair. This time, the execution was successful. To this day, his case remains one of the most disturbing and controversial in American history, raising haunting questions about capital punishment. Was Francis the murderer, or was this divine intervention to thwart an innocent man's execution? Coming in at number 7, we have an American werewolf in Texas. Christopher Allen Whiteley, a 28-year-old man from Lipan, Texas, went missing in early December 2020. His body was found on December 3rd in a wooded area near his home after a brief search. His sudden and gruesome death quickly sparked controversy and speculation, with conflicting reports on what exactly caused his demise. The Tarrant County Medical Examiner determined that Whiteley had died from injuries of the neck due to an animal attack, and ruled his death as accidental. Almost immediately, the Hood County Sheriff's Office suggested that a mountain lion was responsible, citing apparent claw and bite wounds. They issued a public warning about a possible dangerous animal in the area, advising residents to stay cautious. However, this claim was met with skepticism from wildlife officials. The Texas Parks and Wildlife Department conducted their own investigation and found no evidence of a mountain lion attack, and there were no confirmed signs of mountain lion activity in the area. No tracks, no scat, and no sightings, despite extensive searches. Furthermore, Texas has only documented one fatal cougar attack on a human, and that was a 3-year-old child more than a century ago in Beaumont. Whiteley's death quickly became a source of speculation, with some questioning whether an animal attack was truly the cause. The lack of definitive evidence, along with the conflicting reports from law enforcement and wildlife experts, fueled theories that something more sinister could have occurred. Was Christopher Whiteley really the victim of the first fatal mountain lion attack in North Texas history? Was he the victim of foul play? Or could there be a new apex predator in Texas? It all started in late 2016, when US diplomats and intelligence officers stationed in Havana, Cuba, began reporting sudden and unexplained health issues. Victims described hearing strange, high-frequency noises or feeling bursts of pressure in their heads before experiencing severe symptoms: dizziness, headaches, nausea, memory loss, and even brain damage. Some said they felt like they were being hit by an invisible force. As cases spread beyond Cuba, to China, Russia, Europe, and even Washington, D.C., the mystery deepened. Scientists and intelligence agencies scrambled to find answers. Some suspected espionage warfare or a new type of weapon, possibly directed microwave or sonic energy, while others proposed psychological explanations like mass hysteria wrapped up in Cold War paranoia. The CIA and the FBI launched investigations, but with no clear answers, Havana syndrome remains a chilling modern-day mystery. Is it a covert attack, a neurological anomaly, or something else entirely? In the early 1800s, the Bell family of Adams, Tennessee, experienced what many call America's most documented haunting, the Bell Witch. It all started when John Bell Sr. spotted a strange creature in the fields, described as having the body of a dog and the head of a rabbit. Soon after, unexplainable noises filled the Bell home, knocking sounds, chains dragging across the floors, and eerie whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. The entity, believed to be the spirit of Kate Batts, a woman who had feuded with John Bell, grew more violent. It pulled the hair of Bell's daughter, Betsy, slapped her, and left bruises on her body. At night, the family heard disembodied voices, sinister laughter, and eerie hymns. As its power grew, the Bell Witch even spoke in full sentences, mocking the family and revealing secrets no one should have known. But the spirit hated John Bell the most. It vowed to kill him. His torment went on for years until December of 1820, when John died from a mysterious ailment. This marked the first and only time in United States history that supernatural forces were officially recognized as a cause of death. Even US President Andrew Jackson allegedly had a run-in with the Bell Witch. His men were attacked by an unseen force during a visit to the Bell homestead, leading him to declare, "I would rather fight the entire British Army than face the Bell Witch again." The Bell Witch supposedly vanished after John Bell's death, but some say she never truly left. To this day, mysterious voices, shadowy figures, and eerie encounters are still reported near the Bell Witch Cave, solidifying the Bell Witch haunting as the most horrifying ghost story in American folklore.
Several creepy clown sightings. Clowns are reportedly
Scary clowns fueling both fear and fascination. The hysteria has swept across the country.
Several claims of a clown trying to lure children into the woods.
In late 2016, a bizarre and terrifying phenomenon swept across the US and parts of the world: creepy clowns lurking in the shadows. It all started in South Carolina, where reports surfaced of clowns trying to lure children into the woods like Pennywise from the popular Stephen King novel, It. Soon, sightings exploded nationwide. Clowns were seen standing ominously by roadsides, outside schools, and even chasing people with weapons. Social media fueled the panic, with eerie videos going viral. Some dismissed it as mass hysteria or elaborate pranks, while others feared something more sinister, like real criminals using the hysteria as a cover. Police made arrests in some cases, but no clear origin was ever identified. By the end of the year, the clown craze faded, leaving behind a chilling question. Was it all a prank? Or was something truly disturbing lurking behind the masks? In the winter of 1897, in Greenbrier County, West Virginia, a young woman named Elva Zona Heister was found dead under mysterious circumstances. Her husband, Erasmus Trout Shue, claimed he came home to find her lifeless body at the bottom of the stairs. He insisted she died from everlasting faint, an old-fashioned term for a heart attack, and the local doctor, perhaps swayed by Trout's grief or his intimidating presence, agreed. But Zona's mother, Mary Jane Heister, wasn't convinced. She believed Trout was abusive and responsible for her daughter's death. Desperate for justice, she prayed for a sign. And, according to her, Zona answered. For 4 nights straight, Mary Jane claimed Zona's ghost appeared to her. The spirit told her she hadn't died by accident. Trout had murdered her by breaking her neck after a violent argument. The ghost even demonstrated how her neck had been twisted until it snapped. Mary Jane took this chilling tale to the authorities, and remarkably, they listened. Zona's body was exhumed and examined. To everyone's shock, the autopsy confirmed her neck was indeed broken, her windpipe crushed and ligaments torn, just as the ghost had said. Trout was arrested, tried and convicted of Zona's murder. Although the prosecution tried to ignore the ghost story and recite only facts, Mary Jane insisted that her daughter's spirit told her, and the jury believed her and gave Trout life in prison. The Greenbrier ghost remains the only known case in US history where a so-called ghost's testimony helped convict a murderer. Whether you believe in spirits or not, one thing is certain. Zona Heister got her revenge from beyond the grave. On September 6, 2015, 32-year-old Henry McCabe, a Liberian immigrant living in Minnesota, went out with friends for the night. But something strange happened, something no one has been able to explain. At around 2 a.m., Henry's wife, Corrine, who was out of town at the time, received a terrifying voicemail from his phone. In the recording, Henry could be heard screaming in agony, making guttural growls and what sounded like animalistic snarls. It was a disturbing mix of pain, fear, and something entirely unexplainable. The following is the full, unedited audio recording of the now ominous voicemail Henry left on the night of his disappearance. That was the last anyone heard from him. His friend William Kennedy had dropped him off at a gas station that night, which was confirmed with security footage. But Kennedy did tell them the wrong gas station for some reason. McCabe's phone was last traced to a cell tower in New Brighton, but this went cold. For 2 months, there was no sign of him, until November 2nd, when his body was discovered floating in Rush Lake. Nearly 6 miles from the Holiday gas station, Henry was last seen. Here's where things get even stranger. Authorities found no visible wounds, no signs of trauma. The official cause of death? Drowning. But there was no explanation for how he ended up in the lake, nor was there any clear connection between his eerie last voicemail and his fate. Theories have ranged from foul play to supernatural involvement, especially given the unearthly noises in his final call. To this day, Henry McCabe's death remains a chilling mystery. His family and friends deserve answers, but will they ever know what really happened on the night of September 7th, 2015? At number 1, we have the possession of Anneliese Michel. Born in West Germany in 1952, Anneliese was raised in a deeply religious Roman Catholic family. At 16, she began experiencing seizures and was diagnosed with temporal lobe epilepsy. But as her condition worsened, she and her family believed something far more sinister was at play. Anneliese claimed to hear demonic voices and see terrifying visions. Over time, Anneliese, her parents and priest all believed that she was possessed by several demons, including Lucifer and Hitler. Her condition would worsen to acts of self-harm, starvation, and violent outbursts. Father Arnold Renz was granted permission from Bishop Joseph Stangl to perform what would go down as the most famous exorcism in church history. Between 1975 and 1976, 2 priests performed 67 exorcisms over 10 months. During this time, Anneliese's health rapidly declined. She stopped eating, dropped to just 68 pounds, and eventually died of malnutrition and dehydration at the age of 23. The case sparked outrage. Her parents and the priests were charged with negligent homicide and convicted in 1978. The tragic fate of Anneliese Michel has been a popular debate among believers and skeptics alike, with her story being the inspiration for the 2005 film The Exorcism of Emily Rose.